Before the pyramids, before Egypt learned to measure time in stone and eternity in hieroglyphs, the world still believed that order was natural. It didn't need to be watched. It didn't need to be defended. It didn't need to be proven. She simply existed. The name of this order was Ma'at, but Ma'at was not just an abstract idea. It was breathing. It was rhythm. It was the silent certainty that everything returned to the right place after completing its cycle. The sky didn't fall because it didn't need to be held. The river did not overflow at the wrong time. The human heart was not dominated by fear of the end. Death, in that primordial time, was not yet a rupture. It was transition, a door that could be crossed without panic, because nothing was really lost. At the center of this harmony was Osiris, not as a distant god, but as a living principle. Osiris did not rule by force, nor by terror, nor by punishment. He governed by teaching. He showed men how to plant, how to respect the land, how to understand that life grows in cycles and not in explosions. Under his reign, the world did not need to be conquered every day. He needed to be taken care of. The dead were not feared, they were remembered. The past was not trauma, it was roots. As long as Osiris existed as an active presence among the living, the idea of a definitive end simply did not make sense. But every prolonged order creates an invisible fissure. Every absolute harmony produces a contrast that starts small and grows in silence. This contrast had a name and form: Set, Lord of the desert, of storms, of the unpredictable. Set was not originally evil. He was the frontier. It represented that which exists outside of control, outside of the fertile, outside of the predictable. The desert needed to exist for the valley to have meaning. The storm needed to exist to remind us that stability is not guaranteed. For a long time, Set occupied this role without conflict. It was part of the balance. It was necessary. The problem starts when the function is no longer sufficient. Set watches. Osiris beloved. Watch the world revolve around an order that didn't need it to be celebrated. He sees offerings, rituals, chants, see gratitude, see reverence, and he realizes that his role, although essential, will never be celebrated in the same way. It is tolerated, but not desired. And being tolerated is a slow form of humiliation. Resentment is not born of immediate hatred. It comes from constant comparison, from the feeling that the world chose a center and left everything else as a periphery. Set's betrayal does not appear as an emotional explosion. It matures as an internal narrative. Set comes to believe that the order is unfair, that Ma'at favors only one type of power, that the world was designed so that he never occupies the center. And when someone starts to see their own position as a structural error, destruction starts to look like correction. Set doesn't just want to overthrow Osiris. He wants to prove that the world, as it exists, is fragile. He wants to show that harmony cannot sustain itself. It wants to introduce something new, irreversible rupture. The plan is elegant: a banquet, a public celebration, no war, no explicit violence, because the most efficient betrayal is the one that happens to applause. The presented sarcophagus is not just an object. It is a symbol of perfection, an exact mold, an invitation that carries confidence. When Osiris lies down on him, he is not just trusting his brother. You are trusting the very structure of the world. In the invisible pact that always worked, the moment the lid closes and is sealed with lead and magic, something breaks that will never be repaired. It is not just one god who is betrayed. It is the idea that order automatically protects the righteous. The body of Osiris, thrown into the Nile, carries a new and terrible meaning. For the first time, the water of life carries death. When Isis finds the body, the world still believes in restoration. There is still hope that everything will return to normal, but Set understands something that others still don't see. As long as there is a possibility of return, order can be rebuilt. So he goes further. He dismembers Osiris, not out of blind hatred, but out of strategy. Each piece scattered across Egypt is a statement. Meaning has been fragmented. Complete return was prevented. Death is no longer a passage. It became separation. The search for Isis is not just a gesture of conjugal love. It is an act of resistance against the new logic of the world. She travels through Egypt, collecting each fragment as if trying to sew the very fabric of reality. Each piece gathered is a refusal to forget. But something changed forever. Even put back together, Osiris cannot return to life as before. Violence introduced an absolute limit. He is reborn, yes, but in another domain. He becomes Lord of the afterlife, Judge of the dead. And at that moment, death is born as humanity would come to know it. Not as a light transition, but as judgment, separation, weight. From that point, the human heart begins to carry fear. Fear of not being remembered. Fear of not being fair enough. Fear that the end will be definitive. The scale appears. The weighing of the heart arises. The ritual emerges. Everything is born from the primordial fracture caused by Set's betrayal. Automatic trust dies with Osiris. The order now requires constant vigilance. Mayat still exists, but now it needs to be actively sustained. It is no longer a natural state. It's effort. Set, in the end, does not achieve what he imagines. He does not assume a better world. He inherits a broken world. A world where violence began to exist as a permanent possibility. Where death became a real threat. Your victory is empty. He proves that he can destroy, but not that he can govern. And from this tension, Horus is born, son of reconstruction, not of innocence. Horus fights Set not to erase the past, but to prevent the rupture from becoming absolute. The war between them is not simple revenge. It is a dispute between two ways of existing, one that accepts limits to preserve the whole, and another that breaks everything to prove that it can. Neither can be eliminated. Egypt understands this early. Understand that chaos cannot be destroyed, only contained. That order is not guaranteed, only maintained. That is why, after this story, Egypt began to build with eternity in mind. The pyramids are not just tombs. They are symbolic machines against the dismemberment of meaning. Each stacked stone is a response to fragmentation. Each recorded name is a refusal to be forgotten. Egypt builds monuments not out of vanity, but out of trauma, for fear that the world without supervision will fall apart again. Before the pyramids, there was betrayal. Before eternity in stone, there was unjust death. Before the obsession with the afterlife, there was the discovery that death can be violent, definitive, and silent. The story of Set does not just explain a myth. It explains why humanity began to fear the end, because once the order was broken, she was never innocent again. And everything that came after, rituals, monuments, judgments, gods and kings, was just a desperate attempt to ensure that that first rupture would never be forgotten.